What is your archetype or your personality according to Chinese medicine? This is what we're going to talk about today. And I'm really excited because I love this subject and I think it's fascinating. We have 5 elements in Chinese medicine, and we also have 5 main archetypes or personality, and those are connected. How is this relevant in clinical practice? When I do my consultation with each patient, I will ask them questions connected to their personality, and it might take me a couple of sessions to figure it out, but eventually I can see which dominant archetype or personality comes out and how to address what could come up in the physical body according to Chinese medicine. It also really helps to narrow down issues that can be affecting the patient as well. So this is very valuable. It's a great tool for diagnosis. I think it's also really interesting to see those personalities emerge in clinical practice. Welcome to AcuPro, a show dedicated to making Chinese medicine and acupuncture easy to grasp and fun to learn. Hi, I'm your host, Clara Cohen. I support practitioners and students like you in changing the world one patient at a time. My goal is to share my passion for TCM and empower you to achieve superior patient care. I love to showcase the amazing benefits of acupuncture because, after all, acupuncture rocks! In Chinese medicine, the 5 element is such a useful theory in clinical practice. If you haven't watched my video on the 5 element theory, the link will be in the show notes. Make sure to do so because it's one of my most popular videos on YouTube. It's also one of my favorite TCM theory. I love the 5 elements. The 5 elements, as you know, are wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. And those 5 elements in nature and in our body are really part of each other. They control each other, they generate each other, and they are very much a part of a wheel. If one of the cog in the wheel is not functioning, then it will affect the others. That makes sense, right? Nothing is separated. We are a whole, and the 5 elements are part of a whole. So this is a really good theory that I love to use in clinical practice. But today we're going to talk mostly about each archetype. Now, each of those elements corresponds to organs, systems, meridians, taste, colors, season, flavors, and so much more. In general, when it comes to organs, the wood corresponds to liver and gallbladder. The fire corresponds to heart, small intestine, pericardium, and Sanjiao meridian specifically. The earth corresponds to spleen and stomach, metal to large intestine and lung, and water to the kidneys and bladder. This is what we know at the base of the 5 elements. But today, when we talk about the personality, like the wood liver personality type, or the heart fire, or the spleen personality of earth, or the metal of the lung personality, or the water of the kidney archetype, we're going to look at the yin organ system mostly. And doesn't mean that we can't look at the yang one, but the yin have a much more powerful function when it comes to TCM organ. And so I like to go a little bit more in depth in the personality as well. So let's start up with the wood. It's one of my favorites. I think I'm a little bit biased because I'm wood as well as earth. So those are my 2 main personalities. When I was younger, I was earth with a little bit of wood. And you're going to see what that looks like. Now in my late 50s, I'm much more wood, and earth is now my second one. So this is fascinating to watch because personality can change and adapt over time. You remember not being the same person that you were in high school, I'm sure. We all have an evolution to ourselves, right? Now, some trait will stay the same and will stay with you, and some might really change depending on any factor, any life event that shape who you are. In general, when we look at the personality, some of us, like I said earlier, can have 2 main dominant ones. In general, when we look at the personality, some of us can have 2 main dominant ones, like I said with mine was wood and earth, or liver and spleen are my main ones, if we're looking at the organs. And we're going to talk about what does that mean. But for some of you, it may be 3 or 4 different personality. And I've had students over the years that really resonates with all 5 of them. This is a really balanced archetype, which has a little bit of everything, which is fantastic. However, most don't have 5, right? So the wood element in the 5 element theory is related to the liver and the gallbladder. It also corresponds to the eyes. It opens into the eyes. The tendons, joints, ligaments, the season of the spring, so really rebirth and start, and the color green. All these are going to give us clues of what's going on with the patients and their imbalances. Today, let's talk specifically about the personality of the wood or the liver archetype, which is the type A. It's the person with the vision, the goals. It's the planner, the person that plans everything in advance and will go and achieve them. They are action takers. So if you, let's say, are an accountant, you're very organized, this is really good job for the liver personality. Before I recorded this podcast, I had a little bit of a PowerPoint knowing what I was going to talk about so I don't forget about talking about everything. I prepared it, then I'm recording it right now, and after that I'll have to edit it and import it, make sure every step is organized and done so I'm not behind on the podcast. I like to have a plan, and it helps me being more accountable to myself. With every personality or archetype, there is going to be a yin side and a yang side. So the good part of being a planner, being organized, being the wood archetype, being on time, being someone that has goals and vision and is an achiever, that's a great part of this personality. As you can see, I think you agree, right? This is great. However, on the other side of the coin for this personality type, there's also difficulties. The problem is type A wants to be in control. And if it's not their way, it's the highway. In general, they like to be in control. They like to do things their own way. It's really hard for them to work well in a team environment where everybody contributes because they want to be the leader. They want to be the person in charge. I know that because that's why I really enjoy teaching, because technically as the teacher, I'm in charge of the dynamic of the class. I welcome question, I welcome interaction, but I am in charge. And I think I always really thrive on that. So that makes it a little tougher for the wood archetype. Also, we get really frustrated, really irritable when things don't go well or don't go our ways because we are achievers. So we also are a little bit of perfectionists or overachievers. That is so me. Often this really stresses us out and we don't do well when we're stressed. We feel stuck, and that's a liver chi stagnation, which makes sense, right? So we put a lot of pressure on ourselves and it creates a lot of self-imposed stress. And I see a lot of patients that are similar to me, so I recognize this very easily. When I see patients that are wood or liver archetype, I can ask questions to them saying, are you a perfectionist? Are you someone that likes to be in control? And if you're not in control, do you feel rattled? And when they said yes, then I know their liver type. So it's really good because in practice, I can start using points to calm that stress, to relax them, like liver 3. Obviously, that would be a great choice. Gallbladder 34 would be another great choice to really calm the mind, allow for better flow of chi and to relax the person. We're not trying to change their personality. We're just trying to allow the best side to shine. But the tough part that's stressed about needs to be addressed, and we can help with that. Does that make sense? Okay. The second archetype is the fire or the heart archetype. This is the fire element. So it's on fire. The fire in the 5-element theory corresponds to the heart and the small intestine. Also the pericardium and sagittal meridian specifically. It corresponds to the summer season, the color red, opens into the tongue, and it's the most young part of the whole 5-element because it's fire, right? Even though the heart organ is a yin organ, it would be very young in nature because it is on fire. So noon, for example, is the most young part of the day, and 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the heart time. So noon is the most young part of the day. See how it all works out so well in Chinese medicine. The heart reflects into the face where we see people's emotion. And it's also corresponding to blood vessel or blood circulation, which makes sense because the heart is in charge of blood circulation. My husband is definitely the heart fire archetype. This is the personality that is very happy, very joyful. It's like the clown of the party, the person that wants to have fun, loves to dance, loves to make people laugh. This is my husband. I think I fell in love with him because he made me laugh. And the day he stops making me laugh, it's over. I told him that. The fire personality are very passionate. They're excited about everything. They're the life of the party. They're very extroverted. Can you feel the excitement? Okay, this is that personality. And they are like a moth to a flame. They are attracted by the shiny object. You know, where they go, oh my God, this is awesome. Oh my God, this is awesome. That's so my husband. It's great. It's great to be excited. When I go on holiday with my husband, I'll say, I want to go to Costa Rica. Then we go to Costa Rica and he loves everything. I mean, everywhere we go, everything we do, the food, the place, the people, he's like, wow, this is amazing. This is awesome. He is so on fire. He's always excited and happy to try new things, to do new things, and to make everybody laugh. So he's very passionate, very excited, and loves people. The fire personality loves to be around people. They love to be around crowd and friends and big parties. Very much an extroverted kind of personality because it's the fire. So this archetype is a great person to have around because they're very good team player. They actually feed from other people. That's where they get their energy. So they love to play sports, their team sports like volleyball or soccer or football. They work really well in a team environment. However, there's always the other side. The problem with the fire or hard personality is that they have tendency to have issues with completing a project, with finishing something they started because they get so excited. That shiny object syndrome. Yeah. So they're getting really, really excited about it. However, they can't finish the work or complete it because it becomes boring. The day-to-day steps become too boring for them. So it's not exciting anymore. The journey towards the goal is not fun. The excitement of the goal is, but the journey is not. So it's very hard for them to complete a task. In general, they get distracted very easily, very difficult for them to focus. Another thing that is the hard personality is that they love to be around people. Their energy will drop when they're by themselves. The energy will rise when they feed from all the other people they surround themselves with. But on the opposite side, if they're by themselves for a long period of time, they will start to feel down, depressed, and even tired. So they really need other people. If you understand that, you can ask questions to patient and say, are you an extrovert or an introvert? Do you like to have a lot of people over for dinner and do you love to go out to party? Question also like, do you have difficulty in focusing or finishing project? Do you get excited about things and then eventually you get bored, right? Now that tells you that they are the hard personality. What we want to do with those patients is we want to try to keep that excitement and happiness and passion because this is all positive. But we also need to calm them down so they can sleep because often they get so excited that they can't fall asleep. It's kind of like the little kid that's excited because they're going to Disneyland or tomorrow it's Christmas morning and they're waiting all night and they can't sleep. Fire people have tendency to be so excited that it's hard for them to sleep. So heart 7 is a great point because it helps them focus and sleep better. Stomach 40 is also one point that I love to use for heart personality because it calms that nervous anxiety, that's excitement, but also allow the person to be clear-minded and focus as well, which is really important for obviously the heart personality. See, this is how you can utilize this in clinical practice. I think it's fantastic. Chinese medicine is the best. This is why it's really important to ask the right questions. So you can help the patients really hone down into their health, but also into their daily life. We always want to look for the root of the problem and help as much as possible. If I haven't said it before, you know I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. TCM rocks. If you still struggle to come up with the right treatment protocol for your patients, you are going to love my third book, my purple book. By popular demand, I have created a guide to TCM treatments for over 160 common syndromes with acupuncture points, herbal formula, ear points, diet, and so much more, including many of my clinical pearls. This is a complete game changer for acupuncture students and specifically for practitioners. You can download the digital version on any device and it comes with many video links to complement it. Or if you're like me, you'd rather have the hard copy version, the publisher ships it all over the world. The feedback on this book has been amazing. So if you don't have your copy yet, the link is in the show notes below. The next personality is the earth type. In Chinese medicine, the earth type is the nurturer because it's all related to digestion, food, Mother Earth. It's where we grow food, right? So it's nurturing personality or the caring personality, the compassionate. The earth element corresponds to the spleen and the stomach, and it opens into the mouth. That's where digestion begins. It's also in charge of transition in life or in between seasons or season changes. It connects to dampness, the color yellow, the muscle regions in the body. It's also the sensitive personality. Like I said, the compassionate, the nurturer, the caring. So I'm wood and earth or liver and spleen kind of personality. And growing up, I was much more sensitive. I was earth with a little bit of wood. Now it's reverse. I am still earth and sensitive, but not as much as I was as a child. I would cry very easily because I would be affected by everybody's emotion. I'm still sensitive, but I can really channel this for a positive outcome and not make me exhausted. A lot of people in our profession are earth type. That's why they went into this field in the first place, because they want to take care of everybody. They want to help people. They want to nurture. They want to care for people. So the earth type does really well in a medical profession, like what we do, or a nurse, or someone that is taking care of children, like in a daycare, or a vet, because they love to help animals, for example, right? So the earth type really loves to help others. This is the positive part, because it's really important to nurture, to care for people. The other side of the coin when it comes to earth personality is because they are so sensitive, they are going to be affected. Like I said, for me, it affected me tremendously when I was younger. And I could not watch the news. I still don't watch a lot of the news. My husband tells me when there's something that's really, truly important, but I try to not watch the news on a regular basis because it's very hard and it still affects me and I can't take the images out of my head ever. So it's very difficult when you have this earth sensitive personality to be able to watch the news. We have tendency to worry and overthink, which takes a lot of our energy. And so the other side of the coin is, because we care for a lot of people, we give, and we take care of everybody else, but we forget to take care of ourselves. And that is the problem of the earth personality, is that they do take care of all the people around them. And that means we get exhausted and fatigued, which is one of the things that happens when we have spleen chi deficiency, right? It's fatigue. We're always tired because we don't have time to take care of ourselves. So this is really in clinical practice. When I ask patients, how is your energy? They might say, oh, I'm exhausted, or I'm tired all the time, but I just keep going because I have to. And I always say, do you take time to self-care? And, being there for the acupuncture session is a self-care, but a lot of times they'll say, no, I don't have time. I don't do anything. I don't have time to exercise. I don't meditate. I don't journal. I don't go for walks. I don't see friends. I'm basically working, taking care of my family, taking care of my mother who's sick, doing everything, and I'm exhausted. Now that's a problem. And what we want to do for those people is we want to raise their energy. So spleen 6, Ren 6, and Do 20 are a great combo to lift energy. However, for the person that's giving so much, spleen 5 is really good to calm the worry about the ability to say no and feel guilty about it. You know what I mean. If you're earth personality, it's really hard to say no, right? And because then if we say no, we're like, we feel guilty, we feel bad, we overthink, what would that person's going to say? And I didn't help them. And we feel really bad. So spleen 5 is the best point to stop that worry and overthinking and the guilt. This is a great point to add for those patients. Isn't Chinese medicine amazing? Woohoo! All right, the next personality is the metal in Chinese medicine. When we talk about the metal element in TCM or the 5-element theory, I like to use the word mineral, because often we think metal is just like a piece of lead or something. But really, I think it was a mistranslation, and it should say mineral because it's calcium, it's quartz, it's magnesium, it's all the mineral. And lead is one of them as well, right? So in the 5-element theory, I like to call it mineral. However, for the purpose of Chinese medicine translation, we're going to keep it like everywhere else. We're going to call it metal because that's what it's called in all the books. So the metal element in Chinese medicine corresponds to the lung and the large intestine. It opens into the nose for better breathing. It reflects into the skin when there's skin issue, and it corresponds to the fall season and the color white. The metal personality is going to be like the immune system. The long and large intestine and TCM are in charge of the immune system, right? Which is our defense system, our shield, so we stay protected. Well, the metal personality is trustworthy, is loyal, dependable, and will help you anytime you need them. If you need to move, ask them. They will come and help you out. They are very dependable. They're always on time. However, what's interesting about their personality is that, as I said, they are the immune system. So they have this shield, this protective shield. When you look at the earth personality, they're very sensitive, right? They are going to give and not protect themselves. The metal personality is not sensitive at all. They're not a hugger. They're not going to be sensitive. They're not a touchy-feely. They do not cry when they see something sad or bad news because they are self-preserving their emotion. That way they don't get hurt emotionally. They have that shield. That's very interesting because it's hard for them to get close to anyone. In the surface, they can get married and have friends, but they never ever talk about emotions with anyone, and they will never talk about feelings and deep feeling, and they will never have a deep conversation with people because they are self-protected. Does that make sense? And because it's very hard for them to get really close to people and to share the deep feeling, often they're very lonely because they cannot let people in. That makes it hard because sometimes they go into depression and they can't let people in. And the reason is they do not want to be hurt. It's a self-preservation. And maybe because they were hurt in the past, maybe they were not metal years ago and they have learned to become the shield. I have a patient exactly like this. She's so metal and she has asthma and eczema. So the skin issue is obviously the long and large intestine, and asthma is the lung. So this is so perfect because she is physical and emotional metal. And she does not say anything. I will ask her a question and she'll say yes, no. She doesn't want to discuss any stress, any emotion, nothing. So when I have patients that I think may be metal personality, I will ask, are you someone that likes to talk about feelings, about your emotion? And they'll say, no, that's not me at all. So now you know a little bit more. And what we want to do for those people is we want to open their heart, right? The heart and the lung are next to each other. They're part of the upper jaw. Yes, they might get hurt, but they also might get really, really a good outcome and get closer relationship. So opening the chest with RAN 17, which is a really good point to open your heart, your chest, but also the lung for breathing ability, is a really good point to do for the metal personality. Does that make sense? Now let's talk about the water or kidney personality. In Chinese medicine, the water element corresponds to the color black. And in general, it corresponds to the kidney and bladder, the bones, the structure of the body, the teeth, but also the season of winter, and it opens into the ears. Earlier, we talked about the fire. Fire and water are yin and yang opposite, right? So in personality, there's a lot of opposition. The water personality is much more introverted versus the fire personality, which is very extroverted. The water personality loves to be alone. They enjoy being alone, and this is how they recharge their energy. They are actually drained if they stay around a lot of people for too long. So the opposite of the fire, right? They like to be alone and they like to recharge their energy by themselves. The water personality is very creative, very self-reflective. They love to dream and be by themselves and think about many things. They love to create as well. So this personality could be a painter, a writer, could be drawing or a singer. It could be a social media content creator. Whatever creation comes up, they are the creator. They love to self-reflect. So they could be painting for hours, and that's their way of meditating. This is fantastic, right? And lots of self-reflection, self-awareness is really important. They also love their family because the kidney is the reproductive system, right? So the water personality is very connected to their family. But at the same time, they cannot be with their family all the time. They need that downtime, that me time to recover. So the water is great for artists, for people that work by themselves. that like to create. This is a great job for the water personality, like being a writer, for example. It's perfect for them. However, if they are around people, they will feel exhausted, very drained, really emotionally fatigued if they do not get to create as well. So if they're busy and stressed with life and they don't get the creative time, it will take their energy down. Those people, often I will ask them question, are you very creative? Do you like to self-reflect or daydream or be by yourself, right? Just trying to get an idea of where they're at. And like I said earlier, we can have more than one personality type, right? But if this emerge, we want to protect the kidneys, the TCM kidneys with kidney 3, kidney 6, and we want to allow them to get energy even from other people. And that's spleen 6, because spleen connects to 3 meridians. So it's a powerful point to connect. Does that make sense? Awesome. So those 3 points are really good. I will ask patients often, depending on what they do you like working from home? Do you like working alone? Oh, I love it. This is my favorite thing to do. And now we know a lot of people work from home, and some absolutely enjoy it and love it, and others don't at all. So if they love working from home, they're definitely going to be more of a water type. Now they could also have metal, because metal likes to be alone as well. This is so cool. I love the 5 element theory. It's one of my favorite. So let's recap quickly. The word archetype is the visionary, the planner, the goal-oriented person. Type A likes to be in control, does not like when they're not in charge. Yep, that's me. The fire type, which is my husband, is on fire, very passionate, loves people, feeds from people energy, loves to make people laugh, is excited about everything, but has the shiny object syndrome and cannot finish project or focus for a long period of time. The earth archetype is the caring, nurturing, giving personality, the compassionate, the sensitive. However, they forget to self-care because they give so much, they don't know how to say no, and they get exhausted from taking care of everybody else but themselves. The metal personality type is the dependable, the trustworthy, the one that is going to be there for you, very strong, can handle a lot. However, they do not want to talk about emotions or feelings, and they will not let anybody in because they have that protective shield, which is very hard for them because they can end up depressed by being lonely. And the water type is the creative. They love to be alone to self-reflect or to create. And they get really exhausted if they do not get that me time, that downtime. They love their family. They're very family oriented, but they still need that downtime to recharge. Otherwise, they feel exhausted. I create these podcasts for you to enjoy and for you to share with the world. So make sure you share with someone that you think would love it or benefit from this. This is how we grow the show together and make sure that the world knows about the amazing benefits of Chinese medicine. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I truly hope you benefited from this episode, and I would love for you to share it with a friend that may benefit from it as well. Follow the show, leave a review, and if you want more, go to my website, acuproacademy.com. I have tons of resources there with treatment protocols, case study, free courses, and so much more. And connect with me on all social media at AcuPro Academy. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, Pinterest, and LinkedIn and TikTok. And no matter what, keep rocking it using TCM. Please listen to the disclaimer, because the AcuPro Show podcast and material shared through AcuPro Academy, which is a subdivision of Natural Health Sense Incorporated, are designed solely for educational and entertainment purposes. The utilization of information from this podcast or any associated material is at the user's discretion and risk. This content is not meant to replace the guidance of an acupuncturist, Chinese medicine doctor, medical doctor, physician, or any qualified professional, nor is it a substitute for proper diagnosis or treatment. Users are strongly advised not to ignore or postpone seeking medical advice for any existing medical condition with their healthcare professional regarding any health concerns.